isn't particularly newsworthy.
Do you think that when the president says it's hurting him very badly, catering to the radical left, it's hurting the Catholic Church? Do you agree with the president there?
Well, look, I think the president has the prerogative to set American foreign policy. He's got the prerogative to set American immigration policy. He has to look out for the interests of the United States of America. And that inevitably means that when the Vatican comments on issues of public policy, sometimes there's going to be agreement, of course, and sometimes there's going to be disagreement. I think that's a reasonable thing, Brett. I don't think that it's particularly newsworthy, but I certainly think that in some cases it would be best for the Vatican to stick to matters of morality, to stick to matters of what's going on in the Catholic Church, and let the President of the United States stick to dictating American public policy. But when they're in conflict, they're in conflict. I don't worry about it too much, Brett. I think it's a natural thing. I'm sure it'll happen in the future, and it's not that big of a deal that it happened in the past.
All right, more to come, because that was not all that JD Vance said. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you all as you watch this broadcast. It's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-hosts. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
And Shelly E.
Hi, happy Monday.
What a Monday it is. We got so much to talk about from the weekend and then also that has happened today. Folks, come on in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. All right, smash that subscribe button as well and turn on your notifications. Of course, we are live here on YouTube. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Before we get into what's going on with the Pope and Eric Swalwell is what I call him, and so much more. Folks, you got to check out the other shows on the Metro Conservative Media platform. We have Just the Guys podcast. You can catch them every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. live. They give you a male's perspective on news and pop culture. They were just on Saturday. So you can go back and check out their live show from this past Saturday. Great show for you. All right. And then you can check out me on at KJ Christian Conservative. I bring you all the news and pop culture from a biblical perspective. I'm on every Thursday. It's actually me and Michelle, my co-host there, on every Thursday and Sunday at 9 p.m. Go check out our latest broadcast. We talked about Savannah Hernandez, the TPUSA reporter who was beaten up and assaulted by leftists. We brought you all of it and more. Definitely check out that episode. All right. So also we've got merch, right, Nicole?
We do. I have my shirt on today, right?
Yes.
Unapologetically American. Listen, summer's coming quick. It's going to be right around the corner. Lots of A250 parties. And listen, buy a shirt just to stick it to Al Sharpton. If anything else, support the channel. That's great. You get a great shirt out of it. That's great. But this is like a gigantic middle finger to Al. We're not celebrating America's birthday, Sharpton. He's a nut job. This shirt rubs it in his face. Get the one that says these people are crazy and find them so you can stand next to him and Trump is pointing that way. Don't listen to these people. Celebrate our nation. This is a great way to do it. Give me my money back. Tax day is right around the corner. Shelly's been keeping this countdown, got everybody freaked out because April 15th, quite literally around the corner. But there are lots of shirts depending on where your politics fall. Not black, not white. American is a shirt you can wear anywhere. It's about unity, about making sure that Americans know that they can't divide us. Again, a great way to support the channel, and you get to look good too. Send us your picture and we'll put it up on the show screen, maybe also in the Discord so people can see you.
All right. Absolutely. All right, folks, let's get into it. Let's get into it. As you saw at the top of the show, that was JD Vance responding to the feud that has been going on between President Trump and Pope Leo. So it all kind of started off last week. Pope Leo slammed President Trump's Iran policy pretty hard. He pretty much said that he demanded peace, said God does not bless any conflict, and urged Catholics to lobby reps. Okay, he's been hammering this pretty much since Easter. Did we talk about? I can't even remember. We talked about it here, or if I talked about it on Christian Conservative, but we talked about it a little bit. What actually happened? All right, then fast forward to Sunday night. President Trump pretty much unleashed on Pope Leo, said Pope Leo was weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy. He also said, I don't want a pope who think it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. He said Pope Leo should get his act together, stop catering to the radical left. I mean, he went in and he said a lot of things here. And then he posted an AI image of himself depicting himself, which many said was Jesus. We have that here. I believe this is image. Yes, that is the image that President Trump posted on Truth Social. Okay. Lots of people have been upset about this. Tons of people. Before we give our reaction, President Trump, well, this is JD Vance responding in this tonight's Fox News interview about the AI photo. This is clip 13. Oh, do we have that? If not, we can do clip 7 because this is President Trump responding to
the AI drama.
To the AI drop, right? We have clip 7.
And various other things. Do you have any questions?
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better. As an example, the 11,000, I understand your husband's going through treatment.
Okay. All right, ladies. What are your thoughts? I want to get your thoughts first, Shelley. What are your thoughts on the image and then his response? His explanation.
Okay. Truth be told, President Trump need to go sit down with that one. That one is not going to fly, not going to fly at all. And let me tell you one reason why. Not just because you have to believe your lying eyes, but first of all, that nurse that just beside him, nurses are not beneath doctors. Let's get that straight. Okay. So that's one reason it's not gonna fly. Nurses are not beneath doctors. They're not right at their little handmaiden side, so to speak. No. So that goes out the window right there. Look, I appreciate that he came out. He said that he posted it because there were many people all across social media saying, no, someone posted it for him or whatever. I appreciate that. But we know that he was depicting himself as Jesus Christ. We know that. I mean, there's no way around that one.
All right. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
Yeah,
on the image and then on his explanation.
I didn't like either, right? I did not like either thing. If you're a fan of this phenomenon of people putting their description in the chat GPT, right? And say, my name is Nicole Bennett. I'm a politician. I do this, I do that. And it comes up with an image of you. You would have had to tell chat GPT that not only were you a healer, but you were some sort of miracle worker. Because if you look up in the background of the picture, you see the angels at the very top. And so that said a lot. It's hard to tell the most powerful man in the world that he's not allowed to post. It's hard to say that. You find yourself quickly out of a job and unemployable. But let me tell you something. somebody should turn his internet off at night. He, like after 10, somebody go turn the Wi-Fi, just kill it, because that was very unacceptable. Thank goodness that there's a lot of other things that happened today to kind of bump this off the main talking point, because this was a grave misstep. Thank goodness that he's not running again, because politically, when I tell you, if I'm being very honest, and I'm being very honest with you in this moment, if he were a Democrat president and he had an opportunity to run a second term, every single one of my t-shirts, every single one of my mailers would be that image, because Christians around the country would revolt. They'd be like, what is this? This is not a healer. If he wanted to look like a doctor, he could have had the mirrored headband, right? A white coat, a nice tie, the red cross on his lapel, all of those things. This says healer to me, and maybe that's what he asked for, maybe not. I wasn't there, but definitely inappropriate, highly inappropriate. But with all of that said, still support the president. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that honestly, I wasn't really shocked, because President Trump has been. I'm waiting for even worse. I mean, honestly. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's been on social media rampage with this stuff recently. I don't know what's put a bee in his bonnet, or has really amped him up over the last couple of weeks. But he has been posting. As you mentioned, Nicole, they need to take away his social media, but we know it's not going to happen. This has been going on now for the last 8 years or so. Okay, mm-hmm. This is what he's been doing all along. But my one thing is, now I don't believe his explanation either, mm-hmm. but I don't think he was trying to say he was portraying himself as Jesus. I think he was portraying himself as the Pope.
I thought that too.
I think he was making fun of the Pope, just from what he's been talking about over the last couple of weeks. And the photo with the red cape, that's what the Pope wears. Mm-hmm. He looked like the Pope, and he looked like he was making fun of the idea that, as we all know, the Pope compares himself to the vicar of Christ, Christ, mm-hmm. Leading person. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which we mm-hmm. don't agree with as Christians. But, I think that's what it was. That's number one. Number two, we know that President Trump does not believe that he is Jesus. He has said time and time again, literally on Easter, I think it was, he said that he doesn't even know if he's going to heaven or getting into heaven. He said that, he doesn't have a very good concept of the Bible. He's mentioned things that were really not biblical. And as quiet as it's kept, because the Democrats always try to say conservatives look to Trump as the Messiah. We don't. We know he's not. And so many Christian conservatives came out and said, whoa, this was wrong. This was wrong. So it's not like something where I've seen, the majority of the Christian right saying, oh, this is okay. No, many people on the right and who are Christian particularly said this was not okay. Mm-hmm. But I think, we all know that he does not believe he's the Messiah. So that's what I say.
Well, I agree.
Yeah. So I wanted to go back. You said something, KJ, about why he may have done this. Number one. Number two, I want to address that. I've said several times, including last year, I think when President Trump first stood there with the CDC director and all the doctors, I said they should not have let him speak. President Trump does not always need to be the one speaking about certain, he talks too much at times, and he certainly tweets or whatever. We've been doing that for 8 years. Number three, I thought that it was Jesus. I didn't think the Pope. Jesus is also depicted sometimes with the shepherd's clothing on, the shepherd's clothing.
So
that's the image that I've seen. It could be whatever color, but he does.
Yeah, but
It's
most
sort of
people
a
thought it was
shepherd's thing.
Jesus. Yeah.
Right. So I did too. But nevertheless, now let me say this. I thought, again, this is in line with what President Trump does. But one of the reasons I think where President Trump is right now, I'm just going to say, I thought this last year when he first came back into office, which I was glad about. Remember, I voted for him 3 times, right? And I don't regret my vote. Let me get that clear. I do not regret my vote. But I said it then. We talked about it then. I think he's partly on a revenge tour. I remember us talking about it, and I remember saying I wanted him to prosecute people legitimately, because if not, this stuff will come back. It'll just be like a pendulum swinging back and forth, back and forth. Yes, he was done wrong. We all know that. No questions about that, right? We know they went after him. But I think right now, I've said this before as well. President Trump is making it hard for the right, his base, whomever, conservatives. President Trump is making it hard for him or for our side to defend our side, particularly coming up in the midterms and beyond. President Trump is not going to be on the ballot. My never to be humble opinion, honestly, as harsh as it may sound, as hard as it is for me to even hear myself saying it, I don't think he cares about the midterm, and certainly not beyond that. I really don't. I just don't. I think that's where he is right now.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't agree there. I mean, honestly, I don't see.
I'm talking about from a human side.
I get what you're saying. I don't agree there, though. I think that we are seeing President Trump be President Trump. I don't think none of this is any different than what he has displayed over the last several years. Nothing is any different. He has put all this stuff out on social media. He has said outrageous, inappropriate things from the very beginning. None of this is different. Whether we had midterms coming up, whether he was running again, literally, I feel like I'm in deja vu. I feel like this is deja vu. We've had these conversations before, but it was when he was running, when he was about to run again, and he's done this stuff. He does it all the time. As you say, Nicole, he literally puts his foot in his mouth and wiggles his toe. Okay. Yeah. I don't see anything different. I'm waiting for the next thing.
I agree with you there.
But I don't think I do think he wants to win the midterms. I do believe that, because he understands the importance behind it. If he doesn't win, they're going to impeach him. I don't think he wants them to win the midterms at all. Nicole, what are your thoughts there?
He's been impeached before, Right. Been there, done that. But I think he wants to win the midterms for a different reason. Politically, historically, traditionally, right? All of these. And a sitting president always loses seats in his midterm. Always. This is just the way it happens, because there's so many people who are still angry from the presidential election. They're waiting, they're chomping at the bit to get their lick back on a ruling party. It happens not only in the United States, but across the world. This is just kind of like a political phenomenon. Well, wouldn't it be nice if he's the first president to break that political phenomenon? He's that guy. He's that guy who wants to hit every benchmark, to set every record. He's already a legend. His political comeback is legendary. It will live forever. Every history book in this nation will recall this. Every kid who studies political science will study his campaign, going from just about to go to federal prison back to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, sitting behind a Resolute desk. That alone cements his legacy forever and ever. Then go ahead and add extra things on, like solving 7 wars, right? Booming economy, setting up Trump accounts for young people, making sure Social Security is around for old people, making housing more affordable for middle-aged people. I mean, he's hitting every single bell. And if his name was anything other than Trump, they would treat him like he's the second coming of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington rolled around in some Thomas Jefferson. That's how they would treat him. But that TDS is so great on the other side of the aisle that they can't see the wins for the hatred that they have for this man. History is going to remember him incredibly fondly. And I get what he's doing. He's stacking the deck. I would want to be the first guy to win all of the midterms. Yeah. I would want to be the guy, right? That adds on to his legacy. Maybe he'll put another floor on that skyscraper Trump library that he's building.
Well, we have some super chatters here.
Let's see what they say. We have Glenda. Hi, Glenda. Thanks for stopping by on a Monday and for your $10 super chat. The Pope needs to preach the gospel to the radicals of Islam. Okay, all
He's
right.
right.
Well, we
Absolutely.
will see. I'm
Yeah.
trying to look at President Trump more from a human perspective, and still try to be fair. Be fair, critical at the same time. But that's what we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see. Well, let's see what JD Vance is saying. So JD Vance also was asked about this image, and take a look what he had to say. This is clip 13.
A picture of himself as Jesus. He later said that he posted it as thinking as a doctor saving people.
I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one.
But it really caused a kerfuffle, Mr. Vice President. I'm just wondering what you make of all of this, and whether it's what you think of this back and forth with the church.
Well, first of all, Brett, I think the president was posting a joke, and of course he took it down because he recognized that a lot of people weren't understanding his humor in that case. I think the president of the United States likes to mix it up on social media, and I actually think that's one of the good things about this president is that he's not filtered. He doesn't send everything through a communications professional. He actually reaches out directly to the people. When it comes to the disagreements with the Vatican, look, we're going to have disagreements, Brett, from time to time. I think it's a good thing, actually, that the Pope is advocating for the things that he cares about. But we're always going to have disagreements on matters of public policy, or I should say, sometimes we're going to have disagreements on matters of public policy. The Pope has been critical of our immigration policy, but ultimately the immigration policy of the United States is set by Donald Trump. The Pope is going to have disagreements on other issues. We can respect the Pope. We certainly have a good relationship with the Vatican, but we're also going to disagree on substantive questions from time to time.
All right, there's JD Vance. He's always has the right thing to say. I will give him that. Shelley, what are your thoughts on his response?
I think JD again, the Pope. Trump makes it hard for people who want to support him, who do support him. He makes it hard for him to defend them. I think JD is in that position. I mean, he's vice president. What would you expect him to say? He's in a precarious position. So there you have it. That's where I think he is. He's caught between a rock and a hard place, so to speak.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts on what JD said?
I think he read his talking points very well.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was a very good response. I thought it was very good. It wasn't like he was trying to avoid the question or not answer it. Because he could have done that as well. But he still, is right behind Trump. And he's saying, he also talked about the difference between the role of the Pope and the role of the president. So we will see, folks. We will see. We're going to continue to follow the story. Just so you know, I'm not sure if we mentioned it. President Trump has removed the image. He took it down, which is really unlike him. But he took it down. He took it down. So we will continue. I just say continue to pray for him. Pray for this nation, folks. We got news out today. So as you all know, the peace talks did not go well. Or at least how we thought they were going to go. And so now the blockade has begun. So we have, I believe it was about 15 plus Navy ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And President Trump is threatening to sink any Iranian ships that challenge it. So President Trump is stopping ships from paying the toll that Iran is requesting for ships to go through. And so I believe that's the last I heard about what was going on there. Did you ladies hear anything else recently tonight? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we are there. And we'll see what happens as we move forward. All right. So moving right along, got to talk about this Dignity Act. All right. So this Dignity Act, or what they've officially called it, Dignidad Act of 2025, is a real bill introduced back in July of last year by Rep. Maria Elvira Salazar. She's a Republican in Florida. Okay, we actually talked about it. If I recall, when it first was introduced. It has a handful of bipartisan co-sponsors, And it's basically trying to play both sides on this immigration thing. So it's talking about tougher border security, some legal status for long-term illegal immigrants already here. They're saying no full citizenship, but it does sound a lot like soft amnesty. Take a look here. This is clip 1.
Mm-hmm.
Give them dignity. At some point in the future, another legislator will write another law to give them path to citizenship. Right now, what we need to do is to buy peace for these people, allow them to stay, to continue working, because they are needed.
But I want to know how it is and who it is that is going to process these background checks on 17 million people.
Homeland Security.
Have you talked about how long this is going to take? How long does it take to process 17 million people when I've got, let's even just say, 50,000 ICE agents specializing in nothing other than the Dignity Act?
Look, I cannot tell you specifically how DHS is going to manage this, but
Okay.
we give them 18 months to do it.
In
Okay.
18 months, we cannot process 18 million people. That would be 33,000 people a day if we were working weekends and if every single person was getting a adequate check.
But you're concentrating on the administrative part, and then
I'm concentrating on the background check. I am not going to be cool with giving somebody dignity when I don't know who that person is and why they're in my country.
Oh, no. I agree with you. But that's why I say no more than 5 years. You need to prove that you've been here for more than 5.
I still need to know who you are, though, Congresswoman.
Of course that I need you to know that you're a Pepe Perez or Rosa. Of course, I understand. Yes.
And I
yes.
just don't know how. I just don't know.
You just don't know how.
I mean, fairness. How am I going to think about what 30,000 people is? 30,000 people is almost a full football stadium. So now if I'm going to give these illegal aliens 15 million, 17 million, you know it, the ability to go get jobs that now they can compete legally against my kids. They're already competing illegally against them, but now they can compete on a legal end. Now they're going to be able to go get a house and get a mortgage. My kid's going to have an even harder time when he's competing against an extra 17 million people.
I'm going to turn that around. You know, those 17 million people, most of them are helping for the supply of housing to increase.
You, by taking 17 million people and giving them what really is legalization, even though they don't get to vote, you are now putting 17 million more people in competition for the limited amount of housing.
All right. Nicole, you were shaking your head. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, dignity should be dead on the floor. It should be dead on the floor. And the good people of Florida, do not reelect this trash. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no dignity in breaking the law. There is none. I don't care if you broke the law 30 years ago, you're still a criminal. You're still a criminal. Because KJ, if you robbed a bank 10 years ago and they found evidence today that you robbed a bank, your butt would be in jail, right? Your son would be without a mother. Your husband would be without a wife. And no one gives a shit that you're helping to support the economy. No one cares. You break the law, you pay the penalty. That's what happens to Americans. So we have this group of illegals who broke our law. I don't care what they've done since they've been here. Could be the best heart surgeon in the whole wide world. Mexico is calling. Pack your shit and go back to your nation and make your nation great. I don't want my daughter to miss her opportunity at the American dream because that she's competing against other American kids who had the same advantages or maybe less or a little bit more advantages than she had. But when you add in 17 million other people who go from, the shadows to now non-voting citizenship, we're creating a permanent secondary citizenry with this Dignity Act. There's nothing in the Constitution that supports that. It is absolutely unconstitutional to make second-class Americans. We don't do that here. You either are or you aren't. It's like being pregnant. You either are or you aren't. There's no middle of the road. This bullshit is a slippery slope. And let me tell you why. What happens when the floodgates break? And she's right. Some other legislator will write a bill. Many legislators have wrote a bill to quote unquote fix immigration, and they've all been shot down because they all include this amnesty. No amnesty. The American people have spoken, and we mean it. We absolutely mean it. I have not been more incensed with a legislator than when I read that bill. Because as much as she wants to hype it up that it's something that it's not, it is absolute amnesty. It's not soft amnesty. It's absolute amnesty, and it creates a secondary class of American citizenship. We don't allow that here. We don't, and we're not going to start.
All right. Shelley, what are your thoughts here? Is this does it modernize legal immigration or illegal immigration?
Amnesty under a different name is amnesty all the same, period. 86, Ronald Reagan signed the amnesty bill. John McCain, I don't understand what the hell it is about Republicans putting these bills up. John McCain offered an amnesty bill that was shot down. So even since 1986, that was supposed to be, I think, about 3 million people that were going to be grandfathered in. Now we're up to 17 million. I mean, this is not including the children that they have that will automatically be citizens, particularly if birthright citizenship is held up or not held up, whichever way it goes. Then that means they've got their children, and their children will be able to vote. And make no mistake, she's saying that this 17 million, they won't be able to vote. Oh, yes, they will. She said it in the beginning of that clip. Another bill can be written years later to say, oh, well, let's erase that, and these people will vote. Now you got this instant, not just 17 million. I'm going to say 34 if you include their children, who probably will be of voting age by then. This is bullshit. Excuse my French, but guess what? Not just Maria Salazar. She's reported on her website that there are 35 co-sponsors right now, bipartisan. I say don't vote any of them back, Republicans or Democrat, regardless. Why are you signing our birthright citizenship away? That's what it's doing. I'm sick of this. No illegals should be grandfathered in or grandmothered in. They should not be given birthright citizenship. They need to go home, period.
Well, this chat is on fire, folks. We got Catholics, you guys arguing about the Pope, and we got people talking about this Dignidad Act. What do we got here, Shelley?
Let's see who we have here for our super chats. We have Josh. Hi, Josh. Thank you for your $20 super chat. Nicole, how does the party deal with a congresswoman like her, who is loved by the donor class, who want rhino Republicans like her to do their dirty work? It's a betrayal. Thank you, Josh. Yes, thank you for that. Who else do we have here?
Well, it's easy. You know, people who are popular with the donor class soon play out their hand with the people who actually vote. Right. So this is where your ground game comes in, you know, door-to-door canvassing, or we call it door knocking in Maryland. Door-to-door canvassing is something that a lot of people won't do. You want to defeat her, go knock on those doors and talk to the people and let the people know what she's planning to do, because the donor class will continue to write the checks. Right. But the checks that come from that donor class, those donor class people get one vote. They get the same vote is the little old lady who doesn't know what the hell's going on. You go get you some low propensity voters and get them to the polls. Guarantee you Salazar is sitting at home eating a Cuban sandwich, minding her damn business where she belongs.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have another. Yeah.
All right, we have Mr. Jeerley. Thank you for your $5. Thank you, ladies. Your brother over here in Big Island, Hawaii. Oahu.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you for that super chat. Thank you, everybody in Poplar Land. Go ahead and hit that like, share, and subscribe. Go to our website, metroconservativemedia.com, our Discord page, and also just don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can be reminded the next time we go live.
Hey, you guys, you know what? Let's put this in the chat. Who would like to see a new t-shirt that says no amnesty? I would love that t-shirt that says no amnesty. Can we add that in? So we got the latest one I think we had was the Trump, these people are crazy. But if you guys ask for it in the chat, you know, I'll lobby Metro Conservative Media to see if we can get a shirt made for that. Because I'm telling you, if we don't rally, this is what they will do. And we need to rally hard to make sure that they understand that our birthright is not for sale. It absolutely is not. And certainly we're not going to be, frightened into giving up our American citizenship to people who jump the border when there are people waiting who've done it the right way. You know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely obscene that she even suggests this, and it should cost her her seat.
All right. And let's talk about what because she didn't go into detail as to what it actually means. So as she was saying, there's two different parts. There's one that impacts illegals that came in before December 31st, 2020. They, according to this bill, they'd get 7 years of legal work status. So like a temporary permit. They must pass criminal background checks, pay $7,000 in restitution plus back taxes, and an ongoing $1,000 per year fees. Check in with DHS regularly and stay out of trouble. So they can work and travel but get zero federal benefits, no welfare, food stamps, so they say. Then there's the dreamers, which we always hear about. DACA kids brought here young. Okay, so they get 10-year conditional status, then possible green card if they work, serve in the military, or go to school. They also get some path toward permanent residency. So, yeah, this is what it is. It's a no-go, as you both have
like
mentioned.
I said, it should be dead on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, it should be absolutely dead on the floor. And, you know, for those of us who honor this nation, right? It's a hard pill to swallow. It is a very hard pill to swallow. And while my political plate is absolutely full, I got all kind of stuff going on. I'm gonna find the time to take this one down. If I got to be up an extra day, if I got to put another day on the week, I'm going to become a thorn in her butt. This is outrageous behavior. I get it. Immigration is hard, and it's going to take more than her, you know, hanging on to her immigrant roots. It's going to take more than that. It's going to take legislators who are not afraid to lose their seat to come to the hard conclusion that you can't stay. You may not. Go home, file the right way, and give us an opportunity to vet you appropriately. You can file for asylum from your house, right? From where you live in your country. You can go to the U.S. consulate there. You can Zoom into your hearing. That's not a problem. We'll get Elon to tap Starlink and we'll make sure it works. But other than that, you can't stay. You're ruining our experience in our own country. Our own children, the children that were born here in the United States to American parents, are having a hard time finding their feet because of you. And when legislators who are supposed to represent those Americans turn their back on their own citizenry, again, it should cost her her seat.
Yeah. And we're talking, we haven't even talked about these criminal illegals that we have here, thousands of them that have been all across the news committing crime, felonies, and fraud. This is another one here. This one actually got away with it, folks. This should infuriate everyone who sees this. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 10. Another Somali gets away with our money. Clip 10.
Our culture is we trust one another.
Prosecutors also charged Saeed with perjury, and his trial Monday was set to be the crowning moment in the state's long investigation. But according to multiple sources, he has instead successfully fled the country. How? He had no travel restrictions. At a bail hearing after he was charged, prosecutors wanted to set bail at $1 million, but Judge Juan Hoyos gave Saeed two options: a $50,000 bond where he gives up his passport, or a $150,000 bond with no conditions. Saeed opted for the higher amount, and he kept his passport.
Wow.
So wait, he used our own money to abscond?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And another judge, another loser judge let this happen. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
So, okay, first of all, you're right, Nicole. This is our money. Give us our money back. I told you, we're not getting our money back. I've said that. I've said we're not getting our money back. I've said the biggest programs for fraud and scams, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, if you will, and the USDA food programs, okay? There we go. We're not getting our money back, but I'm going to say, give me my money back. And just remember, we have 2 days before your taxes and proof need to go up to prove that you are not keeping your own money, let alone the money from Medicaid. Just remember that. And let me say this. People have been saying this judge is incompetent. No, he's not. No, he's not. I'll give you another word. This is what we call malfeasance, okay? This is on purpose, intentional, willful, and knowingly. He did it willfully and knowingly. This is what we call malfeasance. He's very competent. He's competently in a malfeasance aspect. That's what he's doing. This is all on purpose. He knows damn well what he was doing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I hope people understood what happened here. This guy, this Somali immigrant, all right, he ran 3 Medicaid-funded home health agencies. We've been talking about this for the last month. These Somali Medicaid fraud health agencies. He billed Minnesota Medicaid for personal care assistance services. All right. And he never actually provided any of it. He didn't have any documentation, and it was all backed by fake paperwork. Okay. So after 2022, I believe a judge barred him from any Medicaid funded work and ordered him to repay $77,000. He ignored it. Okay. And now we have him in front of this judge. Now, he was already found guilty, but they let him go. They gave him a small bail. He'd already hauled $11 million of our taxpayer money, and they just let him go. Nicole, what are your thoughts?
Shelly's right. We're never going to get our money back. We're never going to get our money back. You know, the crazy thing about it is, if Nick Shirley hadn't turned people on to that fraud, that case, he probably would have gotten, no cash bond. He would have probably long time ago been gone. I just feel like, as an American, the people that we've elected to represent us aren't doing a good job. They're dropping the ball in every instance. They are not good stewards of our money. They are not good stewards of our border. They want illegals to become citizens. It seems like everything on both sides of the aisle, everything that they should stand for, they're averse to. And it's gross. It makes you want to kind of pull your hair out a little bit, or okay, not my hair. Let's pull their hair out a lot. It makes you angry that these are the same people, when you open up your mailbox come September, there are going to be so many mailers telling you I'm a good guy. I go to church every Sunday, look at my nice and shiny kids, and all of us got the nice straight white American teeth. Vote for me, vote for me. Right. Where were you when these Somalis were robbing us blind? Where were you when the border was wide open? Don't ask me for my vote if you were part and parcel to the fleecing of the American citizen. I am so fed up with these people. I have had it up to here with these folks. Don't ask me for anything. Don't ask me for a vote. Don't ask me for support. Don't ask me for anything. It is just disheartening. It breaks your heart. It really does. For people who really love this nation, this is just insult to injury at this point.
And somebody in the chat was saying that they believe that this was done purposely because this guy probably could name names.
Oh, yeah,
and that's
he can
correct.
name names.
Yeah, because this was Minnesota's biggest Medicaid fraud case ever. And they let the star defendant just walk away. Wonder why.
You know what's so crazy, KJ? As a healthcare exec, let me tell you how much Medicaid and Medicare stays. When I say them people are so far up our butts, I don't understand. It has to be a systemic failure in Minnesota for this type to go on. If I file a claim and let's say the person changed their primary care doctor in between, that little $159 they paid me, I have to pay that back immediately. I've got 15 days to pay it back, or they just snatch it out of my bank account. So what's happening in Minnesota that's not happening to these people? What's happening? That tells me from the governor down.
Kickbacks.
Everybody. The governor down.
I used to work with Medicaid in insurance claims. And particularly in the fraud department. And they were on you like dogs. I mean, if people would get into an auto accident and they paid this stuff with Medicaid, They were on you about getting the money reimbursed, all types of stuff. I mean, we hated actually dealing with them.
Absolutely. A lot of
we
people
all
do.
hate dealing with them.
Yeah.
That's an industry standard. Nobody likes dealing with them.
Absolutely.
But it's the thing that we have to deal with. And what makes it even worse is that Minnesota had to legislatively do something to make this an availability, because it doesn't exist. Some of these states have just gone haywire with taxpayer money. Haywire with I think we need a moratorium on taxes. Let's not pay 10, maybe 15 years, just so we can build up some trust with them. Because at this point, I feel like, these legislators are the bad boyfriend that sneaks into your purse and takes $100. That's what I feel like these dudes are at this point. There's no trust between us and them anymore. This is ridiculous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Folks, sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think. Also, your super chats go a long way in keeping us online. We appreciate the support. Also, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate your support. All right. Do we have some supers, Shelly?
I think we do, according to my notification here. I don't see them yet. Okay, I guess they'll get them up. So we'll keep on going. Don't forget, reminder, everybody, like KJ just said, hit that like, share, and subscribe button and the notification bell. So we're going to keep on going, keep popping off.
All right. So, go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I was going to say, join us on our Discord channel too. So the Discord, if you want to see behind the scenes, or if you want to keep the conversation going, it's a great place to be. There are some pictures from our little day trip to DC to see the Wiz that you'll see in there. It's having a good time on the streets of DC. It was a wonderful play. And if you're in the DC area, and you have some time, you should go check it out.
Absolutely. All right. Well, speaking of these governments, hacks, these people that you can't trust, you can't depend on these people. We gotta talk about Eric Swalwell. Swalwell is what I call him. All right, folks. So he was suspended. He suspended his California governor campaign yesterday after bombshell reports from the San Francisco Chronicle and CNN dropped details of at least 4 women accusing him of sexual assault and misconduct. All right. It includes, there are claims from a former staffer. I mean, you add in back in 2020, he had the Chinese spy girlfriend scandal. And now this. Okay. Take a look. This is The View responding to these claims. This is clip 2.
Friday, I had my staff initiate the process and start the process to file motions for expulsions for multiple members of Congress, both Democrat and Republican. And I think even though Democrats and Republicans might have ideological differences, I think we should be able to all agree on the basics that maybe if you're, sexually harassing or assaulting or have issues of domestic violence or you're stealing funds from FEMA, maybe you should not be in Congress.
What about president? I'm just asking. Because he's denying all the allegations, and he's not the only member of Congress facing accusations of sexual misconduct.
It's always Trump.
Yeah, it's the new racism.
No comparison.
Yeah, it's the new racism. It's the new racism. Trump is the new racism. It's so funny, especially from Whoopi, considering her name is in Epstein files. Let's do that. But members of Congress have always behaved badly. They have a slush fund to cover them behaving badly. Here's the thing with people who have power. Power is intoxicating, and there are people who are easily seduced by power. So you see some legislators who come married with one woman and they leave with, married and with a baby with another person. Things happen. They're human. They weren't born in a bubble. They have the same issues and concerns that the rest of us have. But Eric Swalwell, very specifically, Sheila McCormick, another person very specifically, Tony Gonzalez, another person very specifically. These are people who have gone beyond the threshold of what they say is acceptable behavior. I mean, truth be told, Eric should have been gone when Fang Fang was an issue. Should have absolutely been long gone. And you can't be a sitting member of Congress sleeping with a Chinese spy. That should have been an issue. They swept it under the rug. Like Fang Fang didn't exist. Fang Fang got deported, but like it wasn't an issue. So there are lots of reasons for Congress to police itself, but it does beg the question, are they capable of policing themselves? Will we ever see who got paid from the slush fund?
Absolutely. But I want to go back to the accusation that Whoopi is trying to compare Trump to Swalwell. What are your thoughts there, Shelley?
Well, I was, a lot of times I am like with Whoopi, I'm always confused by what she's talking about. Okay. I'm going to assume, I guess, or presume that she's talking about his civil suit with a crazy woman. I don't know her name. I can't think of her name, which he also denied. And I think he's fighting that back, number one, to have it thrown out, reduced, or whatever the case may be. So that's number one. Number two, the slush fund, let me add, all of you out there in chat land, let me add that slush fund. That's our money. Okay. That they're not putting aside some of their take-home pay to make this little, that's our money, because for every one of these jokers, whatever has to be the filings, the victims come forth, guess who gets to pay them? We do. Okay. We have to pay them. We have to pay the victims. We pay the congressman. Add Corey Mills to that, because he's another one. And this is bipartisan. This is both sides, if you will. This is bipartisan. We have to pay all of them. I think we might still be paying Clinton's victims. Okay, so if they're still alive, we have to pay them. We pay every which way from Sunday. And I'm just going to say it again. On Wednesday, we have to prove that we're not keeping our own money so that they can get more to add to the slush fund. That's all I got to say. Angering it doesn't even capture it. It doesn't even capture what I feel and think about. It does not at all. It just doesn't.
Yeah, but I want to go back to what she's trying to compare the accusations against President Trump to Swalwell, and it is so far off. This guy had at least 4 women, one former staffer hired at 21, accused him of 2 non-consensual assaults back in 2019. Okay, then in 2024, he had another a case against him. All right, there were claims of lewd texts, unsolicited penis pics, sexual messages on Snapchat. Other women have similar harassment claims, explicit photos, advances while he was drunk. Okay, now we talk about President Trump, like Whoopi wanted to do. We got this woman, E. Jean Carroll, who is a psycho, man. I mean, this woman, by all accounts, is a nut. Alleged forcible, the R word, in a Bergdorf Goodman dressing room. A jury also heard a pattern of evidence from other accusers. Okay, no kissing or touching without consent. No staffer claims were here. Again, it was this one woman, and it was a civil case. So there was no criminal case for this. This was a civil case for President Trump. A jury found him liable, not guilty. I hate when they do this, when they continue to, he's all right. So he's all right. No, this was a civil case, all right, for sexual abuse. It was forcible digital penetration and defamation in New York City, which the jury was padded anyway, all right. So it's no comparison, in my opinion. It's no comparison. Now, Swalwell, of course, there's no verdict out yet, but this has been going on for years. And the Democrats, as you mentioned, swept it under the rug. All right. But let's look at what they're doing now. So because this has come out now the media, the mainstream media, and the Democrats are hailing themselves as, the moral people in this because they got one of their own. take a look. Oh, actually, I have this. Let's get the super chats real quick. I want to show you guys this clip.
All right.
Do we have super chats?
Yeah, we have Democracy Dudes. Thank you for your $10 super chat. President Kennedy gave a great speech in 1960 for the need for American politicians and the Pope to be separate. Well, I thought they already were. I mean, nobody elected the Pope, at least, not to be a politician, and vice versa. But thank you for that, Democracy Dudes. Everybody else, go ahead and keep your poppers coming, your chats coming. Like, share, and subscribe while you're there. Go to our website, our Discord page, and also shop until you drop.
Yeah, the Pope is absolutely a politician. I mean, the Vatican has a seat at the UN, I believe.
Yes, it's a city unto itself. But
yeah,
here's
it's his own city, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for religion and politics blending, and sometimes it's a good thing, but most times it's horrible. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Strange bedfellows.
Right. Absolutely. So this is the CNN's Brian Stelter. Take a look how he characterizes this takedown of Swalwell. Now, folks, he has resigned. He resigned from Congress today. Okay. But take a look at how he describes this.
In California, and a real testament to the power of investigative reporting. Eric Swalwell ending his campaign for California governor just about 48 hours after CNN and the San Francisco Chronicle both reported on allegations of sexual misconduct in his past. Taken together, the stories portrayed an abuse of power by the California congressman, who was, until Friday, a leading contender in the race to replace Gavin Newsom as governor. Yes, dramatic end of the weekend news in California, and a real testament to the power of investigative.
You hear him? A testament to the power of investigative reporting. No, what it was is a testament to how sick and creepy and sneaky the Democrat Party is, because they're taking out one of their own because they knew that he was messing up the pool in the California gubernatorial election. That's my thoughts on it.
That's it. That's
you
it.
Talk about investigative reporting. Bullshit. Shitty shit. What my boy say? Shit. Shit. He lives in DC. Swalwell lives here with his family in DC. He's renting a room in somebody's California townhouse to run for governor, and they knew that. It's been in that news cycle in California for more than 30 days. He's not even qualified to run. He's not. So this is much to do about nothing. And Stelter is the last person that should be reporting on anybody's sexual impropriety. Let's hope he had pants on when he was reporting this story, because we all know what happened.
Oh, yeah.
With Stelter. We all know that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
He's not the guy.
Right.
He's not the guy to report on sexual impropriety.
I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley. Before I do, this is Sean Spicer talking about how the media and the Democrat Party handled this entire investigation, as they want to call it. Take a look here.
Look, I think the bigger takeaway, and the one thing I want to get in about Swalwell, which is unbelievable, is that this went from, it's funny, when Dan texted me, I just gotten off a plane, and I saw the Swalwell thing. And my first thing was, welcome to the party. We've been talking about Swalwell for a while. And then my wife texted me. It was like, have you seen the latest on Swalwell? And I realized how this thing had escalated. I cannot believe that we have gone from a place of, and by the way, and then you get Brian Stelter from CNN saying everybody's known about these rumors. And I'm like, so young women have been victimized and put at risk because of Swalwell, and nobody said anything about this? That says a lot about the media, by the way, that Brian Stelter saying everybody knew about these rumors and no one did a damn thing about it. I think that's an indictment on Brian Stelter, what the folks at CNN knew, what they didn't do to protect women. But I will say the Democratic Party, how brilliant this has been, that they've turned what was a huge thing about Stelter, and you noted this, Rachel, at the beginning, to now suddenly it's a 1-for-1. Well, we're going to expel someone from the Republican Party. I can't believe this. We expelled George Santos earlier this year on allegations alone. I think it was the right move, by the way. And now you've got Swalwell credibly accused, videos out there, and it's like the only way we'll expel Swalwell is if we can get one Republican. That's pretty pathetic.
Of course it is. But even beyond that, This is the monster of the Democrat Party's own making. As he mentioned, they knew about all this stuff and they just swept it under the rug. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
Well, he said, right, the Democrats. So he said this was the political part. They knew this. This is an extension to me of the Me Too. Like the media knew about all those women, the Stelzers and whatever, the CNNs and all the others. They knew about all these women being what you saying, the R word, whatever the case is, sexually harassed for years. And then they want to take this high horse as if they are, they're suddenly the good guys and they're cleaning up their own. They're doing this for their own political continuation, their political power. That's all. This is not about them being so holy and righteous, but it's about the power, the prestige, keeping their status, and getting rid of Swalwell because he was now an anchor around their necks, and they need to keep going forward so they can keep reaching for the people's pockets to maintain their power. This is nothing more than that. They don't give a damn about his victims. They don't give a damn about his victims at all.
Even the way they describe it, and I have a little bit of a different take on that. The way they describe it is non-consensual touching. That's rape. That's what it is. It's rape. It's rape every day. What they alleged that Trump did is absolutely rape, right? That's what they described it as. But Swalwell and his non-consensual touching, non-consensual sex acts, the basic definition of rape. But I digress there. My thing is the reason why the Democrats threw him on the fire is so that we'll stop looking. So that we'll stop looking at all the rest of the candidates, right? So we'll stop investigating. They'll give us one or two, so we'll stop asking the questions. But again, I want to see the slush fund records. That's what I'd like to see. As an American taxpayer, I feel like I have the right to know how you're spending my money. I want to know how many boys and girls, young men and young women have been paid off because of quote unquote non-consensual touching, non-consensual sex acts. I'd very much like to know that. I'd like to know how many drunk driving tickets we've paid for. I want to know how many domestic violence things we've paid for. I want to know all of that. And I don't want to know because it's salacious gossip. You guys know I'm not that type of person. I want to know because I want to follow the money. I want to see if this is a pattern. And if it is a pattern, we ought to know so we can vote these jokers out of their seats. It is unconscionable. It makes me believe that Congress is not capable of policing itself. It's just not. The Federalist Papers says if the government, if men were angels, we wouldn't need government. But since the men aren't angels, we absolutely need government. But what happens when men in government are absolute demons? And I don't mean men, just men, because some of the ladies are out here doing the damn thing too. Right. This has just gotten to a point where America wants to know. And I want to know how my money's being spent, who's gotten paid off, and how many other people are sleeping with Chinese spies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do that.
All right. I think we have another super chatter, folks. Thank you guys so much.
All right, Southern Charm, thank you for your $5 super chat. Cali is making fraud okay. The Nick Shirley bill is up for a vote to stop independent journalists from reporting, investigating, questioning anything. I heard a little bit of that, but thank you for your super chat, Southern Charm.
Yeah, yep, yeah, I heard about that too. It's ridiculous. They don't want this stuff uncovered, folks. This is why they hated Doge. This is why they hated it so much. They don't want this stuff uncovered. They want to keep the gravy train going. All right. Let's keep going on this. Wow, folks, you guys are on fire in this chat. Folks, I see you going back and forth about Catholicism, it looks like. Folks, I did a whole series on this on my Christian Conservative channel at KJ Christian Conservative. We delve deep into Catholicism, into Protestantism, and all sorts of stuff. So it's definitely, and the Pope. We delved deep into the Pope and everything from a Christian conservative viewpoint. So certainly check me out on at KJ Christian Conservative, and you go to the video section, and you should see all of the stuff we did on that. All right. So let's keep moving on here. So want to talk about let me see, the Democrats again. So we mentioned this earlier about the midterms. Well, take a look at this next clip. This is a Democrat saying that if they win the House, they're going to invoke, or at least try to invoke, the 25th Amendment. Clip 3.
You support using the 25th Amendment? Obviously, JD Vance is not the guy to do it. This cabinet is not going to do it. But your colleague, Ro Khanna, who I spoke to earlier this week, was talking about the need for a moral position and moral conviction in taking that position, as opposed to just realistically whether or not it would happen.
Oh, absolutely. I said that a week ago, that we should invoke the 25th Amendment. As you point out, that is something that, unfortunately, by the process we have, and there was actually a bill that was introduced, I think it was last session, by Jamie Raskin to change that process, by the way, should we ever get control of the House back. But right now, invoking the 25th Amendment requires the vice president and then requires him to get a majority of the cabinet. And so I have taken the position that we need to do whatever we can to get him out, impeach him, invoke the 25th Amendment, push for him to resign, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. That's what I said. Let me tell you guys something. We sit as the Republicans in Congress and even in the White House. They generally play by the rules, okay? But the Democrats do not. All right. And I don't put anything past them. They've talked about stacking the Supreme Court. Now you heard her say they're talking about changing the 25th Amendment in order to get President Trump out. If they win these seats in Congress, I don't put anything past them. They are going to try their damnedest to get him impeached, and I mean removed from office. So you guys can sit on down and think this isn't going to happen. This is coming if we don't get out here and vote. What are your thoughts on that, Shelley?
No, they're not going to try. They're going to do it. They are going to do it. And they will stack the court. Now, the only saving grace is, right, at least I'll say only, but it's if they remove President Trump, JD Vance automatically becomes president. They're going to attempt to do something to keep him out of the office too, because if they have the majority, particularly in the Senate, that's where if they have the majority in the Senate, that's it. And if we have a close margin, if you will, a smaller margin between both houses, nothing's going to get done. Nothing is going to get done. All that we have accomplished and that we need to still do is not going to happen. The next 2 years, this is why I say, I'm going to say it. I know you all disagree with me in that way. I don't think President Trump is, from a human perspective, because he's not going to be in office politically. I think he wants to win. I agree there. He does want to win politically. I'm just thinking from a human perspective. At least right now, I don't see, again, he's not making it easy. Let me say it. He's not making it easy for his side to defend, not just him, to even defend our positions. He's just not. I'm not saying him personally.
He's done the exact same thing before.
That's okay. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm talking about going into the midterms. It's very sketchy right now. These jokers will come in and upset, invent, create, whatever, manipulate, whatever they have to do to get him out of office.
So the saving grace is our founding document, right? The Declaration of Independence. Listen, it is what it is. There's no changing that. There's no way that anybody, especially her, does not have the pull. I don't think there's a person sitting outside of Donald Trump that could rally 2/3 of any of the states. I don't think that they have that issue, especially for a lame duck president who's got 2 years left. And when all of this happens, a year and some change left. So they are being hyperbolic, but this is what happens when you take toys from toddlers. We've taken their toys. They've taken a bright spotlight and shined it on how the Democrat machine runs. All of the fraud, all of the waste, all of the abuse. And they're saying, okay, yes, especially California, here's fraud. You see the fraud, but we're going to make it illegal for you to report on it. Not we're going to fix the problem and stop stealing your money. No. We just don't want you to know any more about it. And as an American, that should set your hair on fire. It really should. And you know who else it should bother greatly? People who are here, quote unquote, illegally, who are paying taxes. That would kind of rub me the wrong way. I didn't risk life and limb to sneak into this country. I'm hiding beneath the shadows. I'm paying my taxes out of my paycheck, and y'all still stealing my damn money. I mean, that would be, for me, I'd go back home. I'd take my chances back in my home nation. This is just who I am. But they're doing this to us purposely, and shining a light on what they've done has upset the apple cart. They're all very angry. They're not quite as organized as the mainstream media would give them credit for. They don't even have any discernible leaders, and we know that. The midterms are very far away. We keep talking about, people are saying, okay, he's doing too much, it's building up too much. Do you remember a month ago what the last Trump thing was? Where they were so angry at Donald Trump, let's say in February. Do you remember that? No, nobody does, because the world comes at you fast. And they're doing him a great favor, the mainstream media. They don't know it, but the more that they report on every little thing, people kind of turn their ears off. They've had it up to here with politics, and we're not even at the meat and potatoes part of the election cycle yet. There are people who don't want to hear about it. They're like, no, don't say anything to me politically. I already know what I'm doing voting. I don't want to hear about it. And they're saturating the market. That's a good thing for us. We're going to have the mini convention. That's going to be a great thing for us. But you're right. If they get a lead either in the House or especially in the Senate, nothing's going to get done. It's going to be constant bickering and fighting. And truly, I don't think I know any Americans who want that. I don't know any non-politicos, nonpartisan people who want our government to be even more dysfunctional than it is now. So we have to make that argument. We have to make that argument to the American people. Do we really want a government that's not going to work as much as it doesn't work now?
Absolutely. Folks, sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think. But we're in pretty big trouble right now. These Democrats of today are not the Democrat Party of our parents or grandparents. Okay. Take a look here. This is Zoran Mondani talking. He's actually reacting to a Margaret Thatcher quote during his 100 days speech. This is clip 4.
Often of the Margaret Thatcher quote. The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. If anything, my friends, it seems that you eventually need a socialist to clean up the mess. On January 1st, I told New Yorkers that City Hall would hold a singular purpose: to make this city belong to more of its people than it did the day before. For 102 days, we have endeavored to do exactly that, delivering both public goods and public excellence.
Wow.
Where did he deliver that to? Because it must have been to New Jersey. It's not in New York. If he's looking for New York's excellence, it's moved to Florida. It's in Palm Beach. It's in Boca. That's where New York's excellence is. It's moved to another state.
I don't understand the cheers. What the hell are they cheering for? Even if the quote he just quoted from Margaret Thatcher, why would you need it doesn't even make sense to cheer that. And why would you need a socialist to come and clean it up? They already used the money. I don't even understand the cheers. That audience looks like to be relatively young. So again, a lot of young people tend to think other people's money is going to pay their way, but they don't realize how money is actually created. I don't get it. This is just
they're cheering because they were told to clap. That's what they do. This new generation, when you tell them to clap, they clap. When you tell them to stand, they stand. When you tell them to walk off of a cliff, they walk off of a cliff. And this is exactly what they're doing right now. This, folks, our founders, if our founders saw what this thing Mondani is doing, that he was even elected, and then to hear him say such things, they are rolling over in their graves. They designed our country of limited government with checks and balances, property rights. That's foundational to the American system. And here you have him spouting off the benefits of socialism. Okay. Yeah. This is crazy. What happened? I just don't understand.
I agree with you, KJ. I think George Washington would put a musket ball in his ass. I mean, he would shoot him and keep it damn pushing. But the truth of the matter is that looks like New York's young Democrats, and his administration. That's what that crowd looks like. And I'm sure if somebody had some free time and sat down and took a look at him, you could probably match him up with all the Young Democrats, which is an organization like our Young Republicans, who think that socialism is cool, right? Because spending other people's money like a drunken sailor sounds like a good idea until it's your damn money. And if they are smart, they would listen to their governor who holds the purse, who's telling them we don't have enough money for our generous social programs. We don't. We do not. So when the rich people are gone, who do you think they're going to get the money from?
Yeah. It's they're going to get it from the middle class. And it's not just that. I mean, New York City is just imploding. The New York Post has a piece out today. The new NYC train bus robberies climbed 21% from the same period last year, and it'll only get worse, is what experts are saying. And this is just one thing. Now he's talking about a government owned grocery store, and they're putting money towards that. I mean, this thing is already costing millions of dollars for this grocery store, and they just continue to keep doing it as long as they have the people there to continue to pay.
Well, when he runs out of money, again, this is the thing that's really detrimental to the rest of America, right? Because right now it just sounds like a New York City problem and very shortly a New York State problem. When that state starts to fail, we're all on the hook to save it. That's a part of being in the union. It's a part of being in the union. But, I would dare say there would be a lot of strings attached to any bailout money. There would be some significant and profound strings attached to ne'er a nickel that went their way. This is again a waste of our taxpayer money.
Nicole, when you just said bailout, that literally made me sick.
Yeah,
that literally made me sick.
Yeah, we're going to have to bail them out because in America, we can't have people dying in the street from hunger because their jackass mayor has a $100 apple. Ain't
nobody
doesn't
starving.
quite understand economics. He must have skipped them days. Must have skipped it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody
it's not just, it's not just in New York City though. It's here. It's where all of these Democrats are planting roots. They are more and more progressive. It's just that Mondami is actually saying he's a socialist. The rest of them are socialists, and they're just not saying it yet. Take a look at this next clip. This is here in Maryland. How now they have added a fee on the price of paint to pay for a nonprofit. This is clip 5.
Professional painters, the state's new fee attached to every gallon of paint sold in Maryland is difficult to digest.
I was immediately just sitting in there doing the math, and I'm like, this can't be. How can this be? I'm like, and I was livid.
The new fee, which went into effect last week, adds $1.15 to the price of a gallon of paint, an additional $2.25 for 5 gallons. All of the new revenue will go to Paint Care, a nonprofit organization which will operate a new paint recycling program.
It's not okay that it's $1.15. It's not okay that it's another 50 cents. It's not okay that it's $2 more. It's not okay. It's not okay.
Diana has spent her career as a professional painter and says consumers should not be charged a fee for purchasing paint.
I never heard of such, Shelley. I mean, I've heard of private companies asking you to give a little extra if you want to put it towards something, but to mandate an additional fee on goods and services?
Yeah. I guess they're gonna call it following the law. I mean, the legislature's made this law, and keep in mind it goes to a nonprofit that the state has contracted with outside of the people. Basically, you have no choice. You buy some paint. I know the different sizes are going to be rated differently as far as the extra fee. But again, according to Wes Moore, he's making Marylanders, less fees and no taxes or reducing the tax burden. This is another scam, okay? It's another scam, again, instituted by the legislatures here in Maryland on paint. Talk about watching paint dry. I mean, this is ridiculous. They will come up with any and everything, okay? Our money going to an NGO that the state has designated. I was looking at the website for these people earlier, and they had this policy, something about extended government purposes or whatever. So basically, this NGO is in quote unquote business to lobby and then come up to the government, make up policies that sound environmentally friendly and all this stuff that we have to pay for. It's I told you, angering does not even begin to capture the sense of betrayal, the sense of fraud, every which way. And let me remind you for the third time, Wednesday, we have to prove that we did not keep our own earned money. Bam. There you go.
Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
You know, there's a vicious rumor that this NGO is not even in our state.
Wow.
Let's do that. But, you know, Maryland had a terrible paint pollution problem, said no one ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the rub. This NGO is going to funnel this money back to the DNC to keep Maryland a blue state. This is what they're going to do. Because Maryland had such a significant and profound paint problem that our state legislature had to take it up. Now, where was all of this concern when that pipe full of 30 million gallons of shit, right? The legislature hadn't done anything with that. I'm sorry. The last time I was in Baltimore, I drove across the Key Bridge. No, I didn't. Where's the damn bridge? No, that's not important. But paint for an NGO, not in our state, but we're going to fund anyway, tells me that if we follow that money, it's going to land in some Democrat campaign coffers. Make no mistake. Make no mistake.
Yeah. Can I add one thing to this? You said follow the money. I tried to follow the board and the members. Well, one layer, it's just like 3 different layers to this travesty. There's the Paint Care, which is a nonprofit 501c3. Then they are a subsidiary of an organization called American Coatings Association, the ACA. Then who is also connected or a part of this institute called the Product Stewardship Institute, PSI, which gives out some kind of PPSI, Paint Producer Stewardship Initiatives. It's all layered in, and it's going to be hard to find. At one of the sites, I think the first one, they didn't list any board members. They said this site is only for members. So then you have to keep digging deep to see how all these different layers, and maybe these people are not related familially, but business and NGO wise, it's a scam.
Sound like they got plenty of money to me.
Our
money.
Yeah.
And on top of this is just one additional fee. We've already had tons of fees. This is just another fee added to us. We had the paint fee. Okay. We got unemployment rate jumps to 4.3%, 1.4 billion in the budget deficit, massive Sheraton hotel closes in downtown Baltimore. I mean, all this stuff is adding up. And where Maryland is becoming just a tough state to live in. It really is.
Not becoming. It has been. From the moment they wanted to tax the rain. Again, we're the state where if it rained, there was a tax associated with the rain. Right. So none of this surprises me. There's a fee on mattresses. You can't even sleep in this state without paying them. And you better not die. You may not die. You need to pay first, and then you can die. It's getting to the point where they feel like we're captives. And Virginia's not calling. Pennsylvania's not calling. West Virginia's not calling. They act like we have to stay. And that is probably the worst idea because people who are moneyed in Maryland are leaving. Absolutely leaving.
Yeah, we have some super chatters here.
Yeah, super's here. Come on down. Let's see. Democracy Dudes again. Thank you for your $5. I am a Buddhist and I admire your patriotism and common sense.
Oh,
thank you, Democracy Dudes. That's very nice.
Josh, thank you for your $20 again. I want to tell President Trump to lock Lindsey Graham away in a Keebler Elf treehouse. He is terrible for his public image and may be intentionally leading him down a bad, I think that's path. He worries me like a double agent. Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Bernie, thank you for your $10 super chat. I said this in the comment section. Ma'am, dummy is a big POS, piece of shit. How are the Socialist Party going to fix anything? Yeah,
absolutely, folks. But let's talk about, we were talking about this on Friday night. You know, we had a guest on who was telling us that President Trump hasn't done, the Trump administration has not done enough for domestic policies. And we were talking to him about the Iran war, or the, you know, attacks, conflict, whatever you want to call it. And here's another example. We were pushing back against it, but here's another example of what President Trump has done domestically. So they just dropped a major policy shift. Foreign aid will now go straight to national governments. No more routing billions through NGOs. Take a look here. This is clip 8.
The United States has spent billions of dollars over the years in helping with health strategies all across the world. What we learned over time, and especially after coming here, is that oftentimes, and I'm oversimplifying it, but this is an accurate description, what would happen is we would go to a country and say, we're going to help you with your health care needs. Then we would drive over to Northern Virginia somewhere, find an NGO, one of these organizations, give them all the money, tell them go to this country and do their health care program for them. That NGO would then take about, you know, some percentage of that money for their overhead and administrative costs. And by the time it got down to it, the host country had very little influence. It was sort of imposed on them. And only a percentage of the overall money ever actually reached the patients and the people on the ground that we were trying to help because of these costs. This makes no sense. So why are we hiring American and international NGOs to go into other countries and run healthcare systems that are parallel and sometimes in conflict with the healthcare systems of the host country? If we're trying to help countries, help the country. Don't help the NGO to go in and find a new line of business. And so that's what the model that we're breaking. We're not doing this anymore. We are not going to spend billions of dollars funding the NGO industrial complex while close and important partners like Kenya are either have no role to play or have very little influence over how healthcare money is being spent. Bottom line is, if you want to help a country, work with that country.
All right. Nicole, what are your thoughts on that?
That's the best thing I've heard all day. Thank you, Marco. And he's sounding more and more presidential every single day. Every single day. I love that. Now, there are going to be people whose heads explode because these NGOs are prolific hirers of overpaid people. And especially in states like Maryland and in Northern Virginia, like he pointed out, you know, a lot of our industry depends on sucking on the government teat, as Shelley would put it. It is unfortunate that these people are going to lose jobs. They're going to have to find private sector jobs, and they're going to be hard pressed to find a $300,000 secretarial gig with that kind of background. However, as a taxpayer, it's been a long time coming. We should have did this stuff a long time ago, because he's right. Even when we make a donation to like a local charity, they take some of it off the top. It's so prolific that now some charities take great pride in putting on there 90% of what you donate goes to the cause. Well, I want 100% of what I donate to go to the cause. These NGOs take a lot of money off the top. And not only here in America, we pay these NGOs to communicate with international NGOs who also take a cut. And he's right. By the time it trickles down, is it really helpful? What we've done is we've built an industrial complex of non-governmental agencies who live on our tax dollars.
Right.
It's got to stop.
Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts here?
Give me my money back. That's my thought. Give me my money back. Look, every layer that government adds only costs us more. It costs us more and less goes to whatever the intended program or whatever it's supposed to be. Now, I think most of those programs should be gone anyway. Give us all our money back from that. However, this is a good thing. Number one. Number two, why? I want to know how many foreign governments that do we have to support anyway? Why can't they support themselves? And why do we have to come to their rescue? Again, I'm going to take the mindset of many, I guess, I don't know, conservatives, people on the right, MAGA, America First. Fix us here first. That's what many Americans have been saying for years, okay? This is what we want. This is what we want if we want to use our government. We want fix us here first. Infrastructure, whatever the case may be. We want it here first. We matter. It's our money. It's our country. And if we don't take care of it, we damn sure can't expect the rest of the world to, because they don't like us anyway. They're living off of us. Reverse that. This is a good thing. Let's cut some more.
Yeah, I agree there. I agree to a certain point. I think a lot of times this so-called help that America is giving to these other countries, it's not really charity by himself. It generally is being done because it serves our interests in some way, shape, or form. It serves our interests. So a lot of times it's not, us just giving out the goodness of our hearts. Sometimes it may be national security. It may be some type of economic thing. It always generally serves some purpose in the long run or the short run to American interests.
It depends on, I would say that depends on the country. And it also depends on what that interest is. Many of these NGOs, the former ones, certainly the USAID level, many of them, they serve their interest. Because they,
I agree there. I agree with this thing I think this is great that they're removing the NGOs and giving right to the countries. And again, I agree with you on the part about we do need to serve, take care of our home first. But I just don't think it's always out of the goodness of our hearts.
I don't think it is.
To give to these other countries. I think that generally in certain situations, or many of these situations, China is right at the door. China is all over the globe. Okay. They're all over the Caribbean, I know for a fact, and many other places. And so a lot of times if America steps back from these different countries, China will step in, and even in aid, because a lot of times with this aid comes different partnerships, whether it's military, different political alignments. So I just think, this foreign aid isn't just money. In a way, it's sort of leverage.
Because we saw what happened in Panama with the Panama Canal, right? America stepped back. China said, well, thank you very much, and stepped right on in. And then we had to go back and get the Chinese out. So that's very true. China does have that 100-year plan of conquering the world. However, I will say this, a lot of the money that we do give, especially in the healthcare sector, is usually compassionate care. Right. So when you think of HIV drugs, polio vaccines, that kind of thing. But KJ, you're right. There's always a connected interest for the United States. And I don't mind that. Again, I like if they're going to give my money away, I want something in return for it. I want a string attached to that money. I just wish they would stop giving so much of it away.
Absolutely.
Do some things domestically. Now, Trump has done tremendous things domestically. But the one big egg in the middle of the room, the elephant in the room, is these 17 million illegal people still here in our nation who will not self-deport, who will not follow the letter of the law. Many of them have gotten letters that have asked them to leave our nation. They won't do it. So what are we supposed to do? Just allow them to stay? This Dignity Act that gives no dignity to anyone? We have to have legislators who are brave enough to stand up for their constituents and stand up for the nation. And I don't see any of them at this point.
And I just want to add the leverage. I understand the leverage. I get that. But I think it depends on the country. But number two, the part where Americans, let's understand what that leverage is, because what return on investment are we getting? Many things in government is under these bureaucracies, these words and these terminologies. They use these words, but they absolutely don't demonstrate a return on investment, not just financially for Americans. What we do get, we got to pay more. Well, what are we supposed to be getting? Where is that leverage? How is it benefiting us? I want to see it. As far as NGOs, one NGO that I've always admired, Doctors Without Borders, talking about healthcare. Doctors Without Borders, they do amazing work around the world, right? And I don't remember what their administrative cost to whatever the dollar ratio was, but it really wasn't. At one time, it wasn't as much. But then, because donations may drop and they go up and down, they do demonstrate a return on investment. They save people's lives. They extend the health care to people who can't afford it, sick children, things like that. But where for Americans on your average NGO that we sponsor, support, pay for, the leverage, what return on investment, even if it's not financial, what are we getting in return? I'm tired of just giving it out with no questions asked and supposed to be just told, oh, well, this is going to benefit us. It's for our leverage. Show me how.
Well, I like this new policy that Marco Rubio is talking about. He's saying remove the NGOs. And that's what I think that's a good thing, to remove the NGOs. And if they are going to give some type of assistance to these other companies, they're going directly to the other country. Now, what I'm just saying is, again, historically, America has been a force for good in the world, you know, with disaster relief, you know, famines, fighting famines all over the world, you know, and things like that. So I do agree with that to a certain extent. But again, as you were saying, Shelley, you know, we can't have this come at the expense of us here in America. So that's where, you know, I think a lot of us want to say we want to get off this train. All right. So speaking of trains, let's talk about cars. Another thing President Trump is trying to save us on, and another thing he just got rid of, a mandate. So I'm actually have a car like this now, where you're sitting at a light and all of a sudden the engine cuts off. All right. Were
we just talking about this?
Huh?
We were just talking about this.
Yeah. We were just talking about, I said, I hate those cars when they do that. Remember, I think we were
it's annoying, but all of the new cars have it. Well, Trump just got rid of it. Take a look. Clip 6.
Administration is killing one of the most annoying, intrusive government mandates ever forced on American drivers. You can thank the Obama-era regulators for shoving it down your throat in the first place. What we're talking about here is the automatic start and stop feature on your car. So every time you stop at a light, your engine shuts off. And it gives you a panic attack. Did my car just die? They've been putting this in cars for years. Nobody ever asked for this. Nobody likes it. Nobody wanted it. But Obama and all the Obama climate cult people, they thought they knew better. And they put it in the cars. They thought they knew better than the mechanics, by the way. Now, here's the kicker. The justification was always about, oh, this is going to help the environment. It'll reduce emissions. Here's what they never told you. More wear and tear on your car, more expensive batteries, more starter failures, and the driving experience. I mean, it would be hard to measure this, but the amount of anxiety foisted upon American drivers because of this automatic start-stop, terrible, 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 terrible. And in a victory for the common sense agenda, President Trump and his administration, under the leadership, in this case, of EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin, who continues to impress, they are getting rid of the automatic start-stop. Thank goodness. You know, I don't have it on.
Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts?
I love it. I've been saying this, like, it takes more energy to start and stop than to keep it in an object in motion continues in motion. So that's basic physics. I hate them. It's not on any of my cars. Okay. It's not on any of my cars, thankfully, but thank you. This is a good one. So CC, this is something you can call a return on investment as far as evidence. It's showing me as an American the benefit, particularly of stopping this compared to the pros and cons thereof. Yes, this is good. Government, get out of our cars, our refrigerators, get out of our houses as much as you need to get out.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
So my car came equipped with start and stop. And one of the first things I figured out is how to disable sit. And it's not because it's anxiety producing for me, but as you guys know, I drive a lot. I drive a ton. I drive probably in a month more than most people drive in a year. I'm all over the place. I spend a great amount of time in my car, but what I could not abide was the deadness and then the restart.
Right.
And then we have so much stop and go traffic here. So you're doing this. You know, it is so absolutely annoying. And you do see other drivers, and it looks like they're praying to God that their car starts up when they take their foot off the brake. You know what I mean? Because how embarrassing would that be? The light turns green, everybody's ready to go, and your car is really killed and not just temporarily automatically shut off. It seemed to me counterproductive, and they didn't ask consumers. They didn't, lobby us or anything. They just did what they had to do. And I'm so glad to see the administration adopting that same protocol. Do what you have to do. Stop asking people for permission for things that you can do without their permission. Sometimes, you got to lead from the front. And this is one of those things. And Lee Zeldin's a great guy. I expect more to come out of EPA under his leadership. Absolutely amazing thing. And I'm so happy that a whole generation of Americans will never know the agony of their car going, right?
Yeah. And not only does the car, like you mentioned, stop, the air conditioning cuts off too. It's annoying. It is the dumbest thing. And a lot of times you see a lot of cars now are having more issues with the starter and things like that. It's probably because it's stupid.
It might be.
Yeah. Thing. So I am so happy with this. I think but this is what we've been seeing with the Trump administration. I mean, a lot of these things are simple and small, but they make a big difference to me, So hopefully that, gets codified in law and we continue to see it. All right. Well, folks, we will be back on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. All right. Wednesday night at 8 p.m. So please, again, as you come in, hit that like button and share this broadcast. There's a little arrow under this video. All you have to do is hit that and it'll put you right into your social media or your text, email. You can share this broadcast. We want to get the word out. We have a goal to hit 250,000 subscribers. We can only do it with your help. So please join us, subscribe. We are God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. And
All right, we have a super chat from Yanni. Hi, Yanni.
Hey,
Thank you for $10. I don't mind doing my part by paying taxes. However, I've always advocated for the right to allocate where our tax dollars go. They do not have the right to take our money and spend it on waste. GMMB, I like that. Give me my money back.
Absolutely.
That's right, Yanni. Thank you for that. Everybody else, look, we're winding down the show. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe before you go. I should have been a rapper in my earlier years. Anyway, hit that button, hit the notification bell. Just remind you, go to our website, metroconservativemedia.com, and shop. Get all of your supplies or your merchandise, hats, mugs, and one-stop shopping. And don't forget, we have a Discord channel as well that you can comment on. You can see pictures. Nicole likes to post there. So go ahead and have a great rest of your night.
All right. Well, that does it for us tonight, folks. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night.